Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, January 19th. We're back for another community talk on Wall Street Bets. Some early topics to discuss. Genesis going bankrupt, Party City going bankrupt, and markets in general just taking a crash. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome.
Man, if I had held my SPY 395 puts till close yesterday, they would have been a 22 bagger. Instead, I just got out with decent profits.
Oh, yeah, I was seeing a lot of that. There was a guy yesterday who made 10K on, I think, for $1 puts, but they would have been like 50K if he held on.
Gee, it is a shame.
Yeah. It's like checking ex-girlfriend's profile on social media. Just don't do it, man. Don't look back. There's nothing there for you. It's garbage for the streets. You leave your option, you move on.
And for you ladies out there, it's when you check your ex-boyfriend. I know who you are.
No, it can be ex-girlfriend for ladies and ex-boyfriend for men. This is an all-inclusive chat.
Sure, and then ex-girlfriend for the girls. Yes, ex-boyfriend for the boys. Yeah, okay, we don't hate. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to let you know that I'm going to be saving up my money for my stock winnings because I just found out you can go to space for $100,000 and you can have dinner and watch in like a air balloon and view the beautiful Earth that you see below you for $100,000.
So are we still feeling bearish? Is this going to, it's already down 0.8% in pre-market, but is it going to go even lower?
I think so. Felt like the air got let out of the balloon yesterday afternoon. Like, oh, maybe things aren't that great.
All I know is...
numbers in yet? Or no, sorry.
I was going to say, all I know is J-Pow gets COVID, market crashes. Just saying.
Yeah, but you know who, for some inexplicable reason, isn't crashing? Bed Bath & Beyond.
Well, of course, real stocks with strong fundamentals should survive in a bear market, right? You look towards value and fundamentals.
And people that need funding, emergency funding. Yeah.
Do we have the numbers for the job report yet?
Oh, yeah, there should be unemployment data at 8:30, 4 minutes ago. What do?
Not to get political, but the potential shutdown because of us going over our debt limit. I was taken back a little bit that Yellen brought it up last, Thursday or Friday? Hey, by the way, we have a week. We spent too much again, or really it's too much interest on our debt. I know we had some people talking about government-based REITs before, but does anyone see any play there?
I think also at 8:30 there were building permits that came out. So take a look at that. If that's related to the housing play you were just mentioning.
Yeah, so looking into the timing for that REIT thing, the U.S. Treasury can take extraordinary measures for as long as 3 months after this, so it might be delayed.
Someone does not like extraordinary measures.
No, young ape is upset.
Yeah, I'm not able to talk very much this morning, guys. Sorry about that, but these kind of things are not good.
I think at the end of the day, the sounds are not bad at all. It's actually what we're thinking inside our head as we're looking at our stock portfolio. Oh, wait, that's for the retirement people.
So, by the way, jobless claims were 205,000 this week. It was expected to be 214,000 and was 205 the week before. So it's about the same as last week.
I'm seeing that they were 190,000 and previous one was 205.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just did a quick Google search. Sorry, my source might have been bad. You said it's at 190 this Thursday?
Yeah, so it's maybe like 10% lower than consensus. Actually, sorry, I think it
Wow.
was forecast at 207, consensus at 214, but then it came in at 190. Unless I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Ooh, that's not good.
Well, it's good because more people have jobs, or are at least, not saying they're jobless, but it's bad because more people being employed is bad for Jay Powell, and that means he'll raise rates higher, maybe higher terminal rates.
The Great Employed Recession.
But it's a soft landing, bro.
Well, clearly it's too soft because everyone's still employed. He's trying to destroy the employment rate, and it's just not working. People are holding on to their jobs.
I mean, the economy's holding. It's the markets that don't like that, right? But from an economic standpoint, people not being employed is a good thing. Not being unemployed is a good thing. Sorry, there we go.
It's those damn baby boomers that are just retiring like thousands every day. Not enough young people coming into the labor force.
I see a lot of young people on TikTok and YouTube, and they are the stars of the world.
I'm not sure if TikTok or YouTube qualifies as a job.
I beg to differ. They showed me their stats, and I quit my job at McDonald's. And now I have an OnlyFans page. Only problem is I haven't figured it out. If I should show my hands or my feet yet. But I digress.
So calls on McDonald's now that you're no longer there? What other what recession-proof plays do we have? McDonald's is typically one heralded as a recession-proof stock. Walmart is as well. Anything in your portfolios? That's portfolio.
Wendy's.
Wendy's. Are you just gonna name off all of the restaurant chains?
Isn't
Starbucks.
healthcare usually recession-proof? So you go with like a CVS.
Sorry, did you say housing?
Healthcare.
Healthcare. Oh, yeah, definitely would be. Are you any names you're looking at?
CVS.
Sorry. I was thinking credit default swaps, and I was like very confused.
Alcohol is recession proof.
Yeah, I would check out InBev. I would check out Altria. I would check out Philip Morris. Depending on your ethics, tobacco and alcohol do very well in recessions. If that's a little rough for you, or you have like a personal reason for not investing in those, I would look at gaming companies like Activision. These kind of, video games also performed very well during the 07-08 recession. They continue to compounded annual growth rate well above the rest of the economy, even during recessionary periods. So video games might be the way to go if you have moral qualms with tobacco or alcohol investments.
I would
Also-
put Activision on that list, though, since they have a $95 potential buyout from Microsoft. That's going to play a little different.
Also, beauty. People still get haircuts no matter what the economy does. People still need haircuts, even if the economy is getting a haircut.
Some bad news for Celsius Holdings. That ticker is, let me get back to it, is CELH. They just lost a lawsuit against Florida, and Florida was awarded $82.6 million. That's a little over 1% of their market cap.
The rapper Flo Rida?
Correct. So he and his production company sued them for breach of contract over an endorsement deal and won. So I think worse than losing a lawsuit and having to pay $82.6 million in damage is you have to live with the fact that you lost a lawsuit to someone named Flo Rida.
Anyone playing Netflix?
No, I'll give you one of my. This is my boring boomer dividend stock / recession-proof play, if you will. Iron Mountain IRM. It's paying a 4.75 dividend right now. It's pretty safe for those that don't know what Iron Mountain does. They hold your documents, whether they be electronic or paper, for safekeeping. You have to have it, even if you shut down businesses. A lot of these for financial, healthcare, all those things for 6, 8, 10 years, lifetime. I like it. I've liked it for a long time, but I think that's a nice play.
Somebody was mentioning like Philip Morris and tobacco companies in general. I remember, excuse me, like about the middle of last year, they were talking about the FDA was proposing banning menthol. Has anybody heard anything updated about that?
No.
There's some local stuff, including where I live, where they're trying to ban flavored tobacco in general, but that's more for like blunt wraps, but menthol falls under that. So I think there's like here and there, but it's not a federal mandate.
Yeah, we got a local regulation here in Columbus, Ohio, where they tried to ban all flavored vapes. So you have to drive outside of town if you want a vape juice that's like flavored. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know it wasn't a mandate yet. I just know like about the middle of 22, the FDA was proposing banning menthol in cigarettes and all flavors in cigars, I believe it was. I just didn't know if anybody had heard anything else about it. Because I'm sure if that actually goes through, that'll definitely be a play to look at in the future.
Thanks, yeah. Oh, no, sorry, never mind.
Spy calls on open.
Spike calls. You think this is just a brief little dip? That we had that one day not too long ago where it was down 0.8%, roughly the exact same amount it's today, and then it ended up 0.5%. So we could be in for another big swing like that, but with yesterday also being red, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I don't know why it dropped so much.
So the real question is, why did yesterday become red? Because I swear to God, all I saw was JPOW gets COVID, market crash, and that can't be the actual reason.
I mean, there was also that run on Bank of America. That didn't look great. I'm not gonna lie. For those of you unaware, the Zelle payment app malfunctioned with Bank of America, which led to lines out the door at locations around the country as people thought they had $0 in their Bank of America accounts. Made national news.
Wait, so that caused Spy to crash like that? Then definitely calls if that was a reason.
I mean, you know that the 1929 market crash was started with a run on the banks, right? So yeah, it's really bearish if there's a run on the banks.
Well, I think somebody I think somebody got it was Zell that was the issue, but I think somebody got wind of the employment numbers, and from what was mentioned just a little bit ago, the numbers came in much lower than expected, which is bad for as far as future interest rate hikes go. I'm guessing they might even go back to 75 basis point hike.
I heard that too. Still calls because they revised the job numbers last time. I think people have like 2 jobs, or the job report is not actually realistic. That's what I've been hearing, and that's what's coming out other state Fed reports.
Well, on the back end of that though, there is they do have like the labor force participation rate is the lowest it's been in 50 years. And I think there was a Harvard economist.
Who knows?
The people, so the Fed trying to raise unemployment is going to be a difficult challenge for them because there's fewer people participating in the labor force to begin with. So if you're trying to raise unemployment, that's
Helicopter,
sort of,
you had cut out for like a solid 10 seconds. Wait, that was a helicopter just someone who kind of sounds like him, apparently.
Oh, no, that was
Genome. Okay.
yeah. So the labor force participation rate. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you just cut out in the middle. You said a Harvard economist said lower labor force participation rate. So, and then
So there's lower labor force participation rate. So the Fed's objective of trying to raise unemployment, that poses a huge challenge for them because they can't increase unemployment because there's actually fewer people that are looking for jobs. And by lower, I mean the labor force participation rate hasn't been this low since 1977 or 1978. So this is like a 50-year event in the labor force participation rate. So it's going to challenge the Fed when they're trying to raise unemployment.
yeah, if you look at the aftermath of the 1918 pandemic, the exact same thing happened. In like 1919, 1920, a bunch of people just like stopped working after the pandemic was over. And you know what? The St. Louis Federal Reserve investigated that for a decade, and they never came to an answer. People just stopped working after a pandemic.
I think it's all about momentum. Once you're in that role for a while, then it's hard to stop. But once you're out, it's also hard to get back in. And I think that's what's going on there. But what does that mean for companies in general? I mean, earlier we heard that Amazon was worried that they were running out of talent to hire in the US because they had hired something like 1 million or 1.6 million people. Now that's mostly for warehousing, but is it possible that some of these companies face extreme labor shortages? And then if so, what's the play? Do we, long hiring companies that are doing something innovative? Long consulting companies, maybe? They'll get fat checks and
Robotics. I think robotics. They can make robots that do the work, especially warehousing and skilled semi-skilled labor like warehousing stuff that could easily be done by a robot.
So it seems like most robotics are in a house, and the only one that can think of that isn't is Boston Dynamics, which is kind of a meme for just, constantly being sold to one private investor or one company to another. So not sure.
There's a Japanese company. I have to find their ticker. They didn't have a U.S. ticker, but they had an ADR. There was a Japanese company that's big into robotics. I'll get the name later and post it to WallStreetBets. That seems to be doing a lot in the area of robotics and being able to like flexible robotics where they can be programmed to do just about any job. I'll see if I can find it and I'll post it to WallStreetBets later.
But yeah, thanks. I'd be interested in that. I just invited Hardy up, as well as a couple others. Maybe you guys have some thoughts on robotics companies that you could invest in, publicly traded.
I was thinking about home office equipment.
All right, well, do tell.
Well, a lot of people, you guys were talking about how the workforce has definitely shifted, and I see it moving away from brick and mortar. During the pandemic, a lot of people started working from home. Businesses realized they could still profit from that. So, businesses that sell home office equipment, I think, would be a good long.
I would think you're maybe 2 years late for that play. Why do you think there will be a growth in home office equipment now?
Because I believe that shift has been made. I know that it was a requirement during the pandemic. However, as these businesses have realized, it's no longer going to be it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to continue with the brick and mortar. And sometimes it's a 2-year lesson. And I'm seeing it more where I live.
I kind of agree with, at least Hardy asked the question, but I think if you look at some of the PC numbers, those have dropped off a cliff because everyone did do this 3 years ago. So I think that ship has sailed personally.
Desktop PC numbers have dropped off a cliff. Laptops are relatively flat. And at least my experience from some of the office purchasing that I've seen is more and more people are being issued laptops in open office environment instead of desktops.
I just want to say, in addition to what they're saying about 2 years ago was Rigeddon time. Nowadays, a lot of companies, they're trying to get you into the office now. They think that basically when you're out of office, you're less productive, so they want you in the office. So that's another counter argument to what you're saying.
Oh,
The
that's
reason
not
why
happening in
companies
IT.
the reason why companies are doing RTO isn't because of productivity concerns. It's so that they have an excuse to fire people without having to lay them off, or fire people for cause, not have to pay unemployment.
That's 100% correct.
Well, so my aunt got a job for Microsoft a couple months ago, and initially they had her working in the office up in Portland, and she is getting ready to actually be able to start working remotely. So in a couple months, she's going to go back to Utah and work remotely there. So there's a little bit of a combined thing where you might have a delayed reaction with people just starting in the company, and they might make them be in person for a bit and then allow them to go remote wherever.
Unrelated, but is there still a market cap minimum here?
For the talks, no.
Phase Holdings, FAZE. I got in on puts yesterday, a 1.5 put, expiring end of the month. I can't remember the exact date. I got in at 40 cents. So basically 1.1 is my break even. And based on the morning, they're already at 1.11. And they basically don't really have much of a business plan aside from the fact that they hope streamers will get their name out there. So that's my belief
That's
that not worth it.
the gaming entertainment company, right? So they have a bunch of like esports teams and that, correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah, we remember when they IPO'd. We looked at it and said, oh, okay, that's a total like waste of money. And we
Yeah,
think
if
they're
you
gonna
look at
crash.
exactly, if you look at since they've opened, they've just been bad. And I only got into this quite recently, and I wish I had known about it earlier. Definitely a good thing for short.
So
I say we,
Why?
but it was just a small group of us.
81 billion.
I should point out that Phase used to be a SPAC, and at least looking at total shares outstanding, it looks like the PIPE shares have not yet been unlocked, which means there is dilution on the horizon.
About how long until that, like in terms of a normal SPAC, how long until they get unlocked?
Usually it's based on some sort of trigger, either time, so like 180 days or 360 days, or price, where the price has to be above some threshold for a certain amount of days in a period of even larger days to unlock the shares. So that's something you'll need to look at the regulatory filings. It varies by SPAC.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wrote down Phase. I think they did already unlock in December, November, and they merged in like March or something. So yeah, I wrote down Phase from like $20 to $5 on puts. But I think there's, yeah, like you're saying, there's more. You can try to squeeze more out of it, but they've unlocked in like November. You can Google it or look at the S1 to see, as what the previous person said.
Spot puts. I'm pretty sure. I think it was last week or something before CPI. I think I said something about spot puts and then how we're gonna head down after CPI. And then it looks like we're rejecting off that trend line. I'm shorting.
I'm actually going to be opening up a put spread today. I'm going to wait about an hour after market open, see about how much it's moved. If it's moved about 1%, maybe 1.5%, then I'll do $2 below the current price as the start of my put spread. And I'm going for a credit spread.
Where's journalists with some players?
Nah, journalist ain't coming back. Sorry about that. Just cut out for a little bit. Do we wrap up on recession plays?
Yeah, I would say no one's really talked specifically for a minute.
What other companies participate in Zelle, and would they be affected by what's currently affecting Bank of America?
Regional banks a lot because they don't have the money to have bigger
Okay.
programs.
What other publicly traded companies participate in Zelle? Is it Chase, Citi, Capital One, anything like that?
I think like
Yeah, they're all actually
Wells Fargo.
they're all
Fifth Third
partners.
Bank,
Yeah,
PNC.
they're
Correct.
all partners in Zelle. So all the big ones are partners in Zelle. That was their combined effort to create that.
Okay, so it seems like it's Bank of America's fault, not Zelle's fault in this case.
Yeah, it sounds like it's specific to how Bank of America recognizes transfers that are coming in from Zelle. If you haven't used Zelle before, when you receive money, people can send it to you by your phone number or email or whatever. And after they send it from their end, it will say sent. But from the receiver's end, the issue is that the balance never showed up. So I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it's any reason to short a bank. I just think it's a technical bug. But I was gonna ask Hardy while you're up here. DraftKings is flirting with Delta Neutral and Gamma Max, or it was as of yesterday, and I was already bearish on the stock and looking at potentially doing something like maybe a bearish play on the stock where I'm buying a call and selling a call, but I'm not really sure if I should be looking 2 to 3 weeks out, because I understand the theory of looking at how it reacts to price, but I'm not really sure how far out to price it.
So looking at DraftKings reactions, right? It reacted off of Gamma Max and down below Delta Neutral. So the last time that happened was about December 5. And it took, let's call it a month, 4 weeks to reach the maximum profit. The time before that was November, let's call it November 21. And then it didn't go any lower. The time before that, let's call it September 20. And it took a week to reach the low. So I imagine give yourself maybe 6 weeks to realize maximum profit if it happens.
Understood. And I noticed that most of the time your strategy is at the money puts, but the target price I'm looking for is a little bit challenging. So I guess I'll DM you on the side, but thanks for the advice.
Well, let's try to work this out now, unless someone else has plays to share. Anyone else? Okay. So last couple times it happened, the price moved roughly $2.5, $3. So your target's probably going to be in the like $12.50 to $13 range. So knowing that, what combination of options contracts will maximize your return, assuming a $12.50 to $13 price target? I believe the IV is high enough where buying just a straight long put position isn't always worth the squeeze. So you may need to do some sort of put debit spread, for example, where you sell or where you buy, say, buy the $14 put, then sell the $13 or sell the $12 put for the same expiration. You'll need to play with the numbers a bit to see how the payoffs look, but that would be something to explore in the next roughly 29 minutes to market open.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The other play I noticed based on your website and you posted was Paramount, Para, and I was thinking that that could be something that might also react heavily to Netflix earnings today. For example, let's say Netflix has positive momentum and the other streaming services follow. Would you still consider Para as a target for that strategy, or would the IV change so much that you would have to rethink your entry point?
Earnings is February 16, right? So implied volatility for Para, or pretty any company, usually goes up as the number of days to earnings goes down. So that shouldn't
Sorry,
be
I
an
was
issue for a
referring to
long
the
options
earnings.
contract.
I was referring to the earnings that Netflix is going to release, and then maybe Paramount would react to that today. Would that change your strategy for the 17th of March?
No, but if the price in Para moves dramatically because of Netflix's outcome, then that will probably force you to change to reconsider or reevaluate the thesis. Does that make sense?
Yes.
On robotic stocks, someone mentioned BGRY, which is, I think, Berkshire Grey, but they said they're down 90% on them, and it's a $200 million market cap. But in the absence of any other decent robotics company, that's one. I think Kraken Robotics is another. But again, that's also a tiny micro cap. Yes, not Average Monkey. Sorry, I feel like Average, you've been getting cut off a bunch, so go ahead.
No, I'm usually the one that's jumping in, so no, you're fine. I appreciate it. Go ahead. I lost my thought now. I'm laughing.
No, good. I'll just mine the comment fields for more things to discuss. One person makes an interesting comment saying that we're sleeping on the increase in online resellers. And that might be one explanation for why jobless claims or why more people are quote unquote leaving the workforce, but really they're starting either online businesses or real life businesses, and they're just not reporting anywhere. Do you guys see that as something viable? And then if so, any plays we can make off it? I believe eBay is still publicly traded, Amazon publicly traded, but those tend to be commingled with other things. So are there any?
Well,
Yep.
a lot of there are plenty of drop shipping type stores and like small, and by small I mean sub $10 million a year e-commerce businesses. The vast majority of them use Shopify. But if you look at Shopify's performance recently, you realize that the big money they used to enjoy from the various e-commerce sellers went away with the cost of shipping containers going up, and these small e-commerce sellers unable to cope with the supply chain squeeze that happened last summer.
I think part of it. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think all those people who have been keeping their own chickens for all these years, they're just making bank right now, and they're just not reporting as jobless anymore.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I posted a price breakdown of how much it would cost to house 20,000 chickens. The answer: $330,000. That was on Twitter. But to go back to Hardy's point, I think the issue with Shopify stock is that during the pandemic, everyone thought this would be the absolute new normal. Everyone would get used to shopping online. No one would ever shop in a brick and mortar again. And that's why you saw valuations so high. Of course, the growth was ridiculous. But now that that story has subsided, in addition to shipping things, prices come down significantly. I think almost like 80% or something like that, more than Tesla is down. Anyways, so maybe the story now is time for the opposite. Shipping prices are down to where they were pre-pandemic. Shopify stores start picking up again.
Unlikely discretionary income or discretionary cash is lower. Credit card usage is high. BNPL is going up. Buy now, pay later. So, most intriguingly, Instacart now offers buy now, pay later on groceries. So I don't think the excess money that was brought out by the stimulus will come back for a while.
Well, Shopify, of course, makes money off sales. I think they have like a merchant solution, which I think they get like 1 or 2%.
So the merchant solution earns them 70 basis points, or 0.7%. The rest goes to pay interchange fees, the interchange bank, and so on. They have the subscription solution, where you're basically paying to use the Shopify platform. And then they're trying to set up a 3PL, third-party logistics shipping solution in partnership, I believe, with Shippo. And that's not performing as well as it could have.
Yeah, the 3PL was announced, I think, like many, many years ago, and it still hasn't come to fruition.
It was announced last year, and in the wake of Amazon offering 3PL services for using its warehousing infrastructure, Shopify effectively got drowned out.
Well,
also
Amazon,
notable to point out that Amazon has been slowing down dramatically its real estate expansion because there just isn't as much demand for online shopping at Amazon, as large as the company is.
didn't their head of that department get let go or something, or leave Amazon as well?
They had a difference in opinion.
I see how it is. What I was going to go back to is that Shopify, I would imagine most of their revenue probably comes from subscription fees. So maybe the story isn't that, people are going to be buying more, and so Shopify stores are going to see more traffic and sales. It's that more people are going to be under the wire economically and go out and make Shopify stores as, a side hustle or whatever.
As an alternative to OnlyFans, sure. How many of those succeed?
Well, it's not about how many succeed, it's about how many pay the subscription fee.
Yeah, you missed it earlier. Where feet pics is where the real money is. I think is what we decided. I'm kidding.
Bad Baby has made like 50 million.
Yeah, the Cash Me Outside girl. I have no idea why $50 million worth of people are willing to pay for that. And keep in mind that's after OnlyFans cut.
Sheesh. Well,
I remember now after my giggle fit. Sorry. Talking about the recession / lack of labor force and AI, kind of counter argument to the robots and the software, which is clearly going to help and make a impact. Why don't we look at the largest companies and say they're going to gain the largest efficiencies, aka Amazon, Apple, the big tech ones? We know they're different sectors, but obviously the bigger ones, they're going to probably gain the greatest efficiency or the greatest saving to the bottom line. So maybe it's a future play on their earnings.
I buy that. That's good. I think so too.
I mean, and it could be banks, could be industrials, any of the top, 3 to 5 size in any of the 11 sectors in the S&P. Those are the ones that are going to have the biggest cost savings going forward in the next 5, 10, 15 years. In theory, if everything becomes more efficient because there's less of us wanting to work for whatever socioeconomic reasons.
I think the thing that we should all be really considering is the fact that they've had robotics in restaurants and as well as manufacturing facilities for quite some time now, more than a century. And I think to say that it's going to kill out jobs is an understatement. I think the reality is, like, which ones don't we need people in the back?
Well, according to the Harvard economist that wrote that article yesterday about the low labor force participation rate, he specifically mentioned fast food and hospitality workers. And it's interesting because McDonald's is piloting a totally automated solution for their McDonald's stores. I forget where it is, but there was an article that came out a few weeks ago about a store where there's no employees, there's nobody serving you the food. Everything from start to finish is completely automated. You could basically run a McDonald's with one person supervising to make sure that nothing goes wrong. So that kind of feeds well into the lack of labor force coming back to the fast food industry, and McDonald's piloting this entirely robotic McDonald's restaurant.
I personally think there's like no chance that this is ever going to happen with robots in restaurants. Anyone who has ever worked in like a factory or anything knows that machines have issues like all the freaking time. They break down, they have glitches. Someone who gets paid a lot of money has to fix these issues. Yeah, okay.
Despite all those issues, they're able to produce however many million tons of potato chips a year in aggregate. So how hard would it be to spin up, let's say, a Sprinter van-sized McDonald's robot that can serve you fresh fries and fresh burgers, chicken tendies, whatever, street side?
If I may,
Let's hear it, Hendricks.
In all honesty, I'm a professional chef, and I've been so for 20 years. I own a restaurant, and I'm very close to a lot of people who do mass production in the food industry. Robots have a place. Machinery definitely can advance the mass production, fast food, and the sort of small roles in between the actual chefs. But robots can never and will never replace chefs. So, in my opinion, robots are bearish for labor in the fast food and everything below the family restaurant and upwards towards the fine dining restaurants. But it's bullish for the rest of that sector because, in all honesty, it's going to create a stark difference in machine-produced food and human hands-produced food, because there are just things that robots, no matter how much you teach them, will never be able to do. They'll never be able to gauge the quality of a tomato. They'll never be able to gauge the freshness of an egg, the quality of flavor between a shitty orange and a ripe orange. So there's certain things that robots are incapable of. Repetition, yes. High quality, absolutely not.
You're correct. Absolutely correct.
So,
and that's why robots fit in well into the McDonald's space, because their thing was repetition, repeating the quality. Their whole business thesis was to be able to get the same quality of food whether you're in Arkansas or Alabama or New York or Maine. I mean, the whole McDonald's thing was to do the same thing over and over again and streamline the production process. So I think you're 100% correct. Like I don't think robots are ever going to replace world-class chefs and Michelin style restaurants, but definitely in high production environments like McDonald's, Wendy's, and these other ones, robots, I think, and they're not really there to make up for the lack of quality in food. They're there to make up for the lack of existence of a workforce that wants to go back to work in those places. That's what the Harvard economist was suggesting, is that the people that aren't going back to work that are desperately needed are these people that are working in these low wage, low skilled, non-chef type jobs at McDonald's and the other fast food places.
Better than doing that.
Yeah, and robots are perfect for that.
See, companies like McDonald's and the mass production, like McDonald's specifically, if you want to look at it as a case study, their quality checks as far as what they're serving, they're done at the factory level. So by the time the fries arrive at the restaurant, by the time the patty arrives at the restaurant, all the checks and balances are already in place, and the robot has
100%. 1000% correct.
It is very, very. It lends itself very well to mass production in that sense. But in a restaurant where you're bringing in raw product, even a Chipotle with their business model, for instance, in the fast food industry, would struggle because those avocados got to be tested before the robot starts mashing them into guac. Like, you can't do that with a robot. There's no way, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
if I can just
Sure you can. You sure as heck can. They can sense pressure. If it's soft, if it's dense. Yeah, there's checksums that you can do on that. From visual to even infrared, they can go into a spectrum that you and I can't see and tell us before it's even bad. Like, hey, dude, this is way bad. And you be sitting there arguing with them. That is,
Okay,
oh, no.
I agree with you, but I just want to say Hendrix is right on one quality thing, because I do think that robotics can obviously sense whether it's fresh product or not. But I think Hendrix hit the nail on the hammer. If you were listening very closely, he was talking about the transport and delivery and the actual cross-check of the product itself. You're literally going to need a robot on every section of it. It's like the last mile, right? You're going to have to make sure it's quality check all throughout. And I don't know if that's really doable now, maybe in the next 30 years, perhaps. But I would agree one thing, the only argument that I would agree on Hendrix 100% would be that you can't replace a chef's ability to taste quality. I don't know any robot that can do that yet.
Yep.
But I digress.
Very true.
So
Very true.
we got electronic sniffers. What are you talking about?
So one of the, just something to bring up on that whole like robotics thing, bringing in robots doesn't always make something more cost efficient. I think it was Started Trading who was talking about it yesterday that, every time you replace a job, you create a different job. And now you have to hire techs to take care of those robots. And those techs might be expensive to train. I mean, how many robots are you really going to be putting in? And what's
a lot of
the overall
McDonald's.
cost
That's
of
a lot of
that?
robots.
Like, that sounds like an
Yeah.
expensive proposition instead of just paying an unskilled worker.
Yeah, you're gonna
Oh,
have
no.
to pay that person literally like $200,000 a year. I mean, the amount of expertise that you're gonna have to do that job, you're gonna have to pay that person as much as like 10 or 15 minimum wage workers. It
Right, but
doesn't
that-
become cost efficient.
It does, because the equipment doesn't break every day. So like one of these
Okay,
high
yes, it
skilled
will.
repair
up.
people can cover a large area, just
Um,
like a district manager covers a large area of McDonald's.
Sir,
the
No,
big issue-
those robots will have issues
Sir,
every
I
day.
disagree.
promise.
Yeah, I have spent a good amount of time in my life as a mechanic, and that shit breaks. And when it breaks, it is expensive.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah,
going to have sensors on it.
literally anyone who has worked in a factory knows that all machines have issues constantly.
But they already
Things
have
break
sensors
down
installed.
every day.
And they're still using them. I mean, Tesla, if you look at Tesla, which is if you look at their factories, they're highly automated with robots. And the way that they've achieved their output efficiencies and economies of scale to be able to manufacture what they're doing has been with robotics. So apparently there's a cost benefit analysis that's been done on that, and it's paying off.
Well, and if you look at it, some of it with Tesla specifically is there's low build quality. They break quicker than a handmade car if you believe some of the posts. But I have seen them, and they do tend to fall apart quickly, especially when they were all 70, 80,000 plus. So there is a letdown with using robotics. So I agree with you. I don't think robotics, what everyone has said, robotics will never replace all of us.
Can I tap in? Money Street, Wall Street. How y'all doing, my Wall Street bets? I want to tap in on this.
We're having a long-winded conversation.
Well, I'm going to tap in on this because I have an Audi e-tron Sportback Prestige. It's electric, and that motherfucker ain't falling apart like these piece of shit ass Teslas. So I just want to throw that out there. Not all electronics are built the same. I feel like the Audi is built way better than the fucking Tesla, and we'll just leave it at that.
Plays. Come on with those
Here
plays.
we go.
Let's go.
Calm down. Okay. Nuze GUNS XRTX APGN again, apron. I'm still playing that. PBLA. My favorite though for the day, and it may be for the rest of the week, is EVAX. This is based on my personal formula. Tomorrow is the 1 year high of $3.99. You have this market cap and the shares outstanding. The shares outstanding are pretty fucking high. If we got volume, we also have the options, which I love when options come into my personal formula. We have a strike price of $2.50. So we're either going to fight past $2.50 in between $2.50 and $5 in between now and Friday. But this motherfucker is going to make me some money.
What was that last
And
name?
EVAX. That's the one I like. I'm in. I'm looking to get paid. Like I said, one more time with my personal formula. I look at the 52-week high, which is coming up tomorrow, a year ago at 399. You have your volume is at 2.10 million, so it's over the 10-day, which is another thing I love. Catalyst, market cap, and shares outstanding. Shares outstanding are very high. I like it when the shares outstanding are over the market cap, however it be, but this looks good. And then, like I said, the cherry on top is the options play. You got your strike price at $2.50. You also have a $5. So if we pass $2.50, we fight for $5, either way, up or down. But you can get some money between here and there. I think my entry point was like $1.10. So that's my plays, Wall Street bets. Fuck Tesla. Let's go.
Hey, Tuesday Fly. What year is your Audi?
It's a 2021. I bought it brand new. I mean, yeah, okay, things start to fall apart, but Audi is solid, right? So it is what it is. For me, I'm going to keep trading it in every 4 years, write it off. I work a little different than your average trader. I work out of a trust and out of an LLC, and I write off my cars. So I just trade them bitches in if they're over
I got you. I was
6,000
just asking
pounds.
what year it was.
And
That's all.
Audi
There you
uses
go.
robots in their factories too. Like
For
Tesla's not the
sure.
only one that has.
I'm no,
these,
I was just, my point was, it's just everything is not made the same. That was just bottom line. My point. The Audi is very much, in my personal opinion, it looks better, it rides better, it feels better. So that's all.
That's how I feel about my scooter.
And I think it's built better than Tesla's. You know what I mean? It's a few year old, and it's better than my neighbor's Tesla. Held up.
So here's just one thing. So not to get too distracted, but one thing I want to mention is that when we came into this, we were also talking about fast food joints like McDonald's, not Tesla, not Audi, who have very different profit margins. So the type of automated work they have is very different than the type of automated work that Wendy's or McDonald's is going to be, putting in. Even the quality of the level of training of that worker, that's a much more heavily trained worker that you're replacing with a robot.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here is replacing the cheapest workers with expensive machines. And that's not
Sorry to interrupt, but mine wasn't a industry specific. I think there could be winners in all the industries personally. That was the point I was trying to make. But you're right, the conversation went down that track. It did get
my bad.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to clarify. You guys know the robot's not going to be handling the hamburger and the fries the whole time, right? It's going to go down basically factory line, if you may, and it's going to know how much pressurized ketchup, mustard, if it's on the menu. Let's say you don't want pickles on there, it won't dispense it. I mean, it's literally going to go down the factory line, if you may, and then wrap it accordingly. So it's not. I hope you guys aren't imagining
Think
all these
about
like mini
Krispy
robots.
Kreme. Have you been to a Krispy Kreme before?
They're awesome. I love to
And they
watch
fucking does everything except at the end, So I'm just saying, Walmart pretty much doing the same thing with their self-checkout stations, just on a smaller portion,
I
right?
said he walked into Whole Foods and grabbed 2 gallons of
Someone
milk and walked out.
who works. Okay, but I just want to let you guys know this is not like profound robotics. This is like real simple robotics.
Right. Easy
So I don't know
stuff.
why you guys. I just want to say, the guy soldier down there. This is not Boston Dynamics, McDonald's. This is like food factory robotics coming into the actual restaurant that's been around for like years. If you could argue a century.
50 grand on those soda stations, and they had to have 2 of them per location.
Yeah, man. We're going to mechanize the ice cream machines at McDonald's, and it's going to work so fucking great.
Well,
Simple
when you think
robotic,
about it,
right?
If this, I'm kind of actually watching this whole McDonald's automation thing kind of close, simply because for something like that, repetition and consistency, that's all fast food really is. So
That's right. Yep.
and they're going to save a lot of money in places like, I understand a lot of people who work in fast food are part-time, but management and stuff like that, where they make more money and they have benefits, unemployment taxes, all those little things add up after the initial cost of purchasing the equipment.
All it's going to take is one store to be fully automated and show, gee, in 1 year, we've made the exact amount of money as if we had employees. And it's pretty much over.
So let me ask you this: when the McDonald's machine does, and it will break down, who are they going to call?
Ghostbusters.
Call Siemens, though. Call Siemens or whoever's the main manufacturer.
Are they across America, so they can have one in Idaho, one in California, one in Texas, and the same company is going to serve them and fix them, and you think it's going to be done in a couple of hours? They won't have revenue.
Instead of regional managers, they're going to have regional repair technicians.
They're
That's
5
all. That's
years
all.
minimum from being able to lose less than half a day to a machine breakdown, because you have to train the service. Installing
the shake machine. There's this thing called the shake machine at McDonald's, and it breaks down every day, and yet it has existed inside of McDonald's since McDonald's started
That's
serving
exactly
shakes.
the fucking
Yet
point.
they're still able to function.
Yeah, well, what about when the machine that makes burgers breaks down? What are you going to
Guys,
do?
any
Open and sell
plays? Any
shakes?
plays?
Come on, guys.
Can we go to plays?
Yeah, I gotta play McDonald's. When they do fully automate their service, they're going to skyrocket up, and then they're going to be like Tesla, where they come back down because everyone's going to copy them. And Hendrix is going to have a robotic server and a robotic burger maker, and he's going to be sitting there collecting money all day long, making sure his tomatoes are fresh as fuck. That's all I gotta say.
I got one. Wendy's is going to run big. That $5 Biggie bag for Wendy's should carry them through the first, maybe even the second quarter this year. Check them out.
I got puts on all EV companies besides Tesla.
Phase is out of whack, by the way. Their volume is way higher than their average volume, and that's pre-market. So definitely be careful if you're going into the play that I was mentioning earlier.
I just want to say one last comment. That I think that mom and pop restaurants will still be around. There's no way that automated restaurants are going to tag out and be the next big thing. If you are trying to buy into that, it's very speculative, and I think you should wait at least 20 years. I digress.
All right, actual play. Netflix earnings is today, I believe, after hours. Expected market maker move is around 30 points. I'm playing a 50-point wide iron condor, so short the 380 and the 285. You make the wings as wide as you want.
I'm expecting a drop from Netflix. Also, they're going to probably announce layoffs again, but that's just me.
Did you say a 10% movement expected?
Yeah, it's about 30 points. Yesterday it was showing 32. Today it's showing 27.85.
So roughly around that 10%.
If anybody missed my play,
market pretty violently.
hey, I threw out my egg play yesterday. I've been in for about a week. It's CALM. It's a solid play. They pay dividends, earnings coming up in March. None of my quick bullshit flips. I like this. It's playing on the eggs. There was a bird flu last summer. I talked about this yesterday, but some people may not have been there. CALM, check it out. I'm holding for some kickbacks, and I'll flip some too. Let's eat, motherfuckers.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everyone.
That should be the official
Good
bell ringing
luck.
motto.
Yeah, it's like either that or we go to the Hunger Games version of "May the odds be ever in your favor."
Yes.
Time to look up my worthless Bed Bath & Beyond puts.
I got a final one in Opco Health. The stock should be going up soon.
Ticker?
OPK. They had a CRL last year. They have a drug coming out with Pfizer, so that's definitely something to check out. My average is somewhere like $4 or some shit. It's sitting around 1.5 or 6. I don't remember. So yeah, something worth looking into.
Oh, if someone's bought my $2 puts that expire tomorrow. It's surprising. They're gambling because freaking Bed Bath being. I'm so sick of how ridiculous they've been going up for no reason.
Is anybody loading on green stocks? I guess the companies that are impacted by the Inflation Act. I feel like after this recession is done, people are not pricing in how the Inflation Act is going to make a lot of these green companies very profitable over the next few years.
I heard somebody yesterday talking about Boil, BOIL, natural gas. Is anybody interested in that?
Yes.
How high do you think this runs?
Not sure.
He met us.
My play on Boyle is just that winter's not over yet, and it's we'll see what happens for the next 2 months. It should like February and March are usually when storms and stuff like that hit.
I was going to mention, hey everybody, good morning. This is Georgia Underwood. I was going to mention my play, which I came up with on my own, but Hardy also apparently endorsed it, and that was puts on Carnival Cruise Line. They don't yet have the earnings to sustain the run up that they've had last week. They've had about $2 run up in the stock price in it. They're dropping. I'm happy to see that.
Carvana's down 4.5% so far.
That EVAX tip was no joke. It's floating up around like 13%.
So we mentioned them earlier. Bank of America's down 1.5%, but pretty sharp drop there if you look at the chart. But it doesn't look that detrimental with the news. It's not even on some of their ticker. If you go to some of the websites, the news story about that, which I think is funny. About Zelle not paying. Some of the Zelle payments on Bank of America messed up, and it looked like it's Bank of America's fault. So
Yeah, I think the bigger news story with them is that their executives have reportedly stopped hiring. They're not going to do layoffs, but they're going to do a hiring freeze going forward. And apparently there are more layoffs coming at different banks, but not Bank of America, which in my mind is bearish.
a lot of stocks actually go up after they announce layoffs because it looks like they're trimming the fat and making margins a little wider.
Right, which is why saying that you're not going to do layoffs is a bad thing, which is why I think it's bearish, because they're saying we're going to do a hiring freeze, but we're not laying off anyone.
Well, you can see them taking some measures, but not extreme. But I can see what you're saying, though. Yeah, if you do the inverse of it. No, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, there is a danger to firing, though. And that's generally that companies that are laying people off are not growing. So you're looking at, you're asking yourself, like, what divisions are they losing people from? You know, if they're just losing HR, that's one thing, but that probably means they're not hiring, they're not expanding. So there's probably very little growth to expect over the next couple of years. All they're going to be
That's
trying to
not
do.
really where the money is going right now anyway. Like the money is leaving growth, leaving speculative growth. They want people to reduce their expenses and get cash flow positive. When you lay off your staff and you can say, hey, last quarter of last year, we had X amount of expenses to run this operation. We've reduced our headcount by this much, which means we'll have this much more going into our business to extend our runway. Like you can tell anybody that was concerned with growth lost their ass in the last like 6 months. All the growth stocks got slaughtered. Like the money is going into companies that are willing to sacrifice growth for a couple of years to get cash flow positive.
I mean, it really depends on the question of whether or not their cash flow was ever negative, though. A lot of these companies, they don't have a problem with their fundamentals. I think a lot of times we look at this question of growth and we're looking at their stock price. Their stock price has nothing to do with their growth. I mean, that's a weird way for me to say it, I suppose, but I mean, there are a lot of companies that are fundamentally good, but they're just severely overvalued. In other words, there may not be a reason for some of these companies to lay staff off. In fact, honestly, among the banks that I've been looking at, they're not like suffering that hard. Their profit margins aren't even really suffering that much.
I mean, I think they haven't been transparent about the missteps made during COVID. For example, Goldman Sachs basically was the canary in the coal mine saying, hey, our provisions for bad credit are going to be massive in the coming year. We overextended credit to the tune of $1 billion just in Apple Card services alone. We lost $4 billion in a division we thought was going to be profitable by 2023. Other banks are coming out saying, hey, we overextended credit in these departments. Here's what we're doing going forward. Just watch, man. Like the next 3 months, all the people that are getting laid off now have a 3-month runway, 6-month runway. And these are like, you know, speculative companies like tech, credit service industries. Like they're not essential functions of the business. That's why these people get fired first. So when we say, oh, like the employment numbers aren't where they should be, it's like, yeah, these people are getting fired now. They have a cushion. They have 3 to 6 months. We'll see what happens in 6 months when these people are looking for work and haven't found it, or are in a situation where the cost of renting has gone up and we're in a recession. Like, I think that's when you can really find the value in some of these stocks, not right now when we're still trying to trim fat.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you to an extent. I also disagree with you to an extent. Just because a lot of companies, I think, are going to take these opportunities. They're not really trimming fat so much as they are abandoning programs that they were already planning to abandon. And they're just using the economic downturn as an excuse. I mean,
I don't know, man. Look at Goldman Sachs report.
Right, but I mean, this is a company that makes
they fully intended to use.
How much has
that
Goldman made?
platform.
What's their gross profit per year? I guarantee
I don't know,
you,
man,
like,
but I'm
upwards
just
of,
saying they did
I
intend to use
guarantee
that
you,
platform.
it's upwards of maybe 30 billion.
Sure,
Okay.
but I'm just telling you, they
So
said
when
to their investors, hey, we have this new platform. It'll be profitable by 2023. Then they came out and said, actually, this platform lost us $4 billion and we're laying off 3,200 members of our staff.
I mean, and I understand that, but what I'm saying is, like, Goldman Sachs does that kind of shit every couple, like, these big banks do that shit every couple of years. They're so big that, I mean, when we hear those numbers coming out from them, they look excessive and they look like they're really, really kind of impressive and meaningful. But when you look at it in terms of the actual size of the company and the amount of business they're doing and the amount of employees they have, it becomes significantly less impressive in terms of being a real market mover. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree that big tech is does the same thing, right? They talk about low performers being fired or whatnot, but they do that every year. And then on top of that, they're getting rid of programs or not generating revenue. I mean, they pull the plug on projects all the time. I mean, it's nothing new. Of course, they're going to use this as an excuse to do mass layoff. But if you see how much all these techs have hired in the past 2 years, I think we still have more layoffs coming to balance it out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of these companies are laying off their least profitable departments in anticipation of lower years of growth. But I mean, when you look at companies that have been through major turmoil, there's so many times when companies will lay off massive amounts of people, and then the very next quarter they're posting record profits. You know, so I'd just say take it with a grain of salt. Make sure you look at their fundamentals before you look at it as necessarily a positive or a negative thing. Just be
Are you
mindful.
saying? Are you saying that the absence of having to pay those people goes directly in their financial statements to have a better margin? I guess. I mean, I guess it would. So to make a profit, you fire people. It's not your important people.
Precisely, Georgia. Like they're basically just firing people to boost their profit margin, and it happens to be a time where the society as a whole kind of feels that there's a squeeze, so they'll accept the fact that this company is doing a massive layoff and kind of say, oh, it's not necessarily bad management, it's just the situation in the economy. So it's an opportunity for a lot of companies to right their ship without taking a lot of direct responsibility, where you can just say, oh, inflation, interest rates, supply chains, problems happen, so we have to lay people off. But the truth was, maybe the plan was never viable in the first place. But you're going to use the larger market issues as a kind of cover for you to scrap some programs that were probably bullshit at the inception.
Yeah, and I agree with what you've been saying, Trash Panda, especially about look at the percentages. When you look at it, they're not a fly-by-night company that's only had 100 people and they fired 90 of them. Like they're not going out of business. And to your point, I think you're right. If you look at the stock price, it was reflected in the last 2 or 3 days. It's gotten beaten up. And if you think that that's going to hurt them even more, you could, take a short viewpoint of it. But I think you're right. It was reflected in the stock price. People sold off, said, you should have told us you were going to not write off, X billion, which is marginal. It's less than 10%. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Some of those companies are the ones who do huge layoffs like that. And then, 6 months or a year later, they're like, oh, look at our top executives get like $250,000 bonuses.
Yeah, I think that's another thing, right? They do these early layoffs for the conversations on raises and so forth. And then, people getting laid off, the other folks that are still there, they get the raises.
And again, I'll say, I spoke about it a few days ago after market open, but the real test to me of when a company is legitimately trying to get thin is executive compensation. It's probably the most bloated part of the modern corporation. It's probably the most just inexcusable expense that the corporations of the last decade have, that makes them differ from every corporation 40 years ago or earlier. And until you start seeing companies look at executive compensation packages and say, we're not going to do this anymore, we're not going to pay you 300 times the average employee salary, we're going to cap our executive compensation at, let's say, 50x or 25x the median salary of our employees. That's when I think you're going to start seeing growth companies that are serious about actually growing.
So on that note, Trash Panda, do you happen to know of a website or anything that has a list of like the top companies in terms of like the ones that are trimming executive compensation the most?
Honestly, I don't. I just try to, I just look at the news and, I rely on other people to like give me information. That's one of the good things about WallStreetBets. Somebody just told me the other day about, I think it was AMC's exec who had like a like froze his salary or something. That's like one of the, that's a good example of like a company that's taking, when you talk about trimming the fat, that's trimming the fat, right? A bloated executive salary is not making money for the company at all.
Yeah. Tim Cook just cut his by 40%.
Right? So that's what I'm talking about. Like when you see that, that's a company is giving you some serious signaling about the fact that like they have an interest. They have like a genuine interest in cost saving.
I kind of agree with, executive salaries being way too high in some places, but you also have to kind of look at it sometimes, depending on the company, of course. Are they, doing something like that, kind of like a magician, look at what we're doing here, but not over here.
Carvana's down 8%, almost 8.5%. Yeah.
So honestly, I just looked at the Tim Cook salary cut, which is impressive, 40%. And even after 40%, he's still taking home $49 million in 2023. You could run a company on $49 million.
You could buy like all the car washes in the state.
You could buy Carvana for $49 million. But you'd be wasting your money.
Just give me 3% of that salary to YOLO and I could retire.
Dude, I could retire on $5 million and live comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even need to YOLO that shit. I could just take my time.
Have one of the best lost porn pictures.
Hell, I'd be happy with 5 million pesos. Go live down there in Baja.
I recently went to Tulum last year in March, and it's you can live comfortable, honestly, with just food alone, maybe like 50 to $100 every 2 weeks. I stayed down there for about a month because I got family down there. So
Funny enough, I mean, this is just anecdotal, but I noticed like a lot of anarchists love moving down to Mexico. I don't know what is up with that, but it's something I've noticed.
since the Terminator movie. Um, like John's mom was down in Mexico.
Has anybody been paying much attention to WWE since that whole rumor thing went around for a little bit?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I was reading the other day. Apparently, the Detroit police and fire retirement system has, it's not a lot. I think they said they had like $100,000 stake of shares, and they decided to try to file a class action lawsuit against Vince McMahon, basically saying that he misusing his his shareholder rights, or I can't think of the word, influence or whatever, to eliminate board members, put himself back in control, and try to push a speedy sale through. But even I think it's probably going to be a nothing burger. But if it does turn into a class action lawsuit, it'd be kind of interesting to see what happens.
Who is it that has expressed interest in buying the WWE?
It's a couple different people, actually. I believe Saudis have done it. Then there was also like Comcast. Tony Khan, who owns AEW, has expressed interest. And I think at least one other.
I
Is
think
it
Apple
Even
was
Disney.
also interested in Disney as well.
And Disney.
Disney's in the fray as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kingmaker. You know what I mean? As a company, I mean, WWE has produced several, real like premier talents that have like become like blockbuster generating actors. So it definitely like makes some stars. So it's a good company to own if you're in that area.
That that's the same. That's the same thing that Disney does. Hannah Montana and all these other talents that come out of there.
Yeah, man. It's weird to look at it, but like, you have like wrestling stables, like small organizations that train wrestlers up to become wrestlers. But honestly, like WWE is like a Hollywood stable where you are prepping people for becoming famous in Hollywood and Hollywood prime time. So if you look at it in that context, as it's really a Hollywood stable, like if you like if you want to make blockbuster movies, like great place to go find yourself some talent that people already love.
So it doesn't look like the short sellers are keeping Bed Bath and Beyond at a high price, or Carvana. So that they're both dropping.
Plus, on the WWE side, they own the rights to the names. So, like, say, The Rock, when he went to go do his movie thing, either in the beginning he had to give them a certain percentage or had to buy out the rights to his name. That's why now I think it's why he goes by, Dwayne Johnson instead of The Rock in his movies.
I think we all hear him go as Rock Dwayne Johnson or Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Right, but on the actual movie itself, it won't say The Rock.
Is the guy who was bearish on Netflix still in here? I'm wondering what he thinks about the fact that Netflix is down right now. So with it.
All I know is those Paramount puts are doing pretty well. Thank you, Hardy.
Oh my God, I'm reading about this WWE stuff, and this is some juicy stuff. I did not realize he had reinstated himself as the chairman of the board.
Yeah, that's why I said the that retirement fund is trying to file a lawsuit against him, not the WWE, basically for abusing his power. Be
Yeah,
interesting to see if anything comes of it.
So what's wild is that like going after someone individually is actually pretty tough, because generally the courts give anyone acting in the role of like a board of directors or board of governors, they give them a lot of leeway in how they conduct their business, so that the law is not, like stepping into the role of running a business. So it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for them, but not impossible. I think I'll probably post about this in a couple days. Just give me some chance. Give me some time to do a little research.
Yeah, I mean, ever since that came out, the stock price hasn't really moved much. So, I mean, it's not even like they could necessarily go and like, if the stock suddenly plummeted or skyrocketed, they couldn't exactly try to call manipulation of the stock price.
Yeah, no, it's so I'm gonna do what I'll do is I'm gonna try to do a little breakdown of the different types of actions that a stockholder could file against a board, just to give you an idea of like what it looks like, and if you're interested, I'll post. Like I said, I'll post something in the next couple days about it, so you have an idea of like what types of actions they can take. But I'm gonna see if I can find the original filing and break it down Barney style. So. Honestly, though, I think as I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if he's not trying to sell the company quickly to the Saudis, so that they can basically get rid of all the evidence of his misconduct. Because I'm pretty sure he still has impending lawsuits against him personally about his previous behavior in his many, many varied roles in WWE.
While you're researching that, you ought to look to see if you can, or if we can file a lawsuit against the Reddit mods, say, Opinion, for example, for not allowing us newbies to have our free avatars too. Or NFTs, I mean.
Opinion, how could you?
What happened? Are we all NFT millionaires now? I had to walk the dog. What happened?
Apparently, Opinion owes you all millions of dollars.
Puts on Opinion.
See, his silence means he's guilty.
I don't really see how the Saudis would run WWE. It just seems like a comedy show. Maybe they will hire him to stick around.
I'm fairly certain they'd keep all the same staff, but you have to remember that WWE does at least one show in Saudi Arabia roughly every year, Crown Jewel. So there are people with expertise and experience in running that kind of business. So they're not. It's not something that's outside of the purview of the experience of that potential buying group. They have people. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they'll have to do a role reversal, play the Uno card. So they'll have Captain America come over there to their show and bring democracy to everyone.
Yo, someone
Maybe that's
mentioned
why.
Netflix a bit ago. I'm not doing that long term, no way. But that dip is looking fat. Just gotta say that.
Maybe that's why Disney would be interested in the WWE is because uh, they bought the rights to Marvel, so you could have Captain America in a wrestling ring. Disney bought it.
That'll be sick, bro. I will pay top dollar to see Iron Man on the ring fighting
Oh,
John
holy
Cena.
shit!
I think
The
it's more
Hulk,
the other way around.
Iron Man,
Oh yeah,
Black Widow. Oh man, that is awesome. You're right.
Versus
I think
John
it's the other
Cena
way
and
around
The
where you see
Undertaker.
wrestlers in movies. Like, think about it. They don't want some guy painted like the Hulk showing up at SummerSlam and everybody being like, oh, that
Super
guy is like
Slam.
the Hulk. Or yeah, Super Slam.
Yeah, I mean,
They want future Rocks popping up in Marvel movies and being like guest appearances. They want, their wrestlers being in the blockbuster films.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
say something that's my opinion. I honestly think Dave Batista is a better actor than Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is just Dwayne Johnson in every single movie.
All right, we can't debate the greatness of the Scorpion King. Let's table this debate for now.
Sure, my ex-wife would say he's hotter, The Rock. So counter argument.
Yo, that Netflix dip though.
Netflix
Someone mentioned that
tanking,
shit.
Paramount
Tanking. Yeah,
tanking,
that dip's looking
more
fat
streaming
though.
services tanking. Like, just short the streaming services if you feel so inclined.
Fuck it.
Or if you're day trading, it's pretty fat buy right now.
Hasbro's down another 2.5%. So another recent company of topic we've had.
Yeah, if they can get Carvana and Netflix back down to earth, I'll have a good day tomorrow.
Their earnings are today after hours, right, for Netflix?
They are. There's been a bunch of price revisions downward towards $300 that have come out, indicating that people already have approximated what they think earnings will come in at. And I think also, regardless, the direction of SPY is going to dictate the sentiment of the market. And so I don't really think that Netflix could even surprise with a beat to overcome the momentum of the general market right now.
I mean, market does some weird stuff. For example, like SI.
Oh, 100%.
Like SI, they missed their earnings by 41%, and they went up. So I don't know. I kind of want to buy some puts on Netflix because.
They're pricey.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, that's why I think that Paramount was a better. I mean, I don't know how much more momentum it has, but like the puts on Netflix were super expensive. Paramount trades in conjunction in terms of streaming services are concerned. And, you look at Netflix versus Paramount, you're talking about something that's trading at like 60 cents a contract versus however much it was.
I just saw the $300 strike put for Netflix. It's $700 for a contract, or $7.36. I mean,
Also, Newegg is in there too.
the egg is back.
Let me ask you guys something. Have any of you looked at the new Robinhood options builder function?
I have. I played with it pretty aggressively this last week.
What did you think about it?
I think
Helpful for beginners.
mobile version is options. See the different profit and loss scenarios on closing prices. And I think the desktop version needs a lot of work. But in general, I think people that are using Robinhood are probably novice traders and shouldn't be trading options in the first place. But there's enough information to show you like, hey, you could potentially lose, $200 if the price gets to this point by this date. So that's super helpful.
Yeah. So to be honest, this is actually making me a little more bullish on Robinhood as a company, because I feel like they are, I didn't feel that strongly about them when they IPO'd, because I was just like, well, it's just fucking cheap trading that you're funding by doing a lot of backroom deals. But
speaking of backroom deals, they just got a judge approved Robinhood users to proceed with a lawsuit against the company, and that was announced yesterday at market close. And so I think their business model when they first started wasn't transparent, and now that it is, users that feel that Robinhood duped them are coming, and it's probably going to resolve in some form of class action. So if you are bullish on Robinhood, I would say you'll probably have plenty more buying opportunities depending on how that lawsuit shakes out.
Now, where does one
for more information on that?
Where does one find this lawsuit?
It's posted on Yahoo.
Reuters. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm reading about it right now too.
Yeah, I tried to short Robinhood as soon as I saw it, but it was like one of those situations where market had just closed, and then I was actually glad because I really don't know how much the news actually matters, given that, SPY going down or SPY going up matters more than some random ass lawsuit for Robinhood's price right now.
They're going to pay for removing the buy button, God damn it.
Whatever happened to Sam Bankman's position on that?
I'm not sure. That's a great question.
It's locked up and frozen.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long time before anything happens with that. You got to let the court case against him go through. At the same time, FTX's bankruptcy proceedings also is going to take time. So it's probably going to be at least 6 months out before anything happens with that.
Probably closer to a year. It takes a while for that stuff.
I mean, it's locked up and frozen, but it's almost guaranteed to be sold off. So you might as well just figure like it's priced in. I found a deep fucking value play. If you guys want to hear it.
Go for it.
If you guys, finish up what you guys are talking about. It might take a minute.
Okay, we finished up what we were talking about.
Okay. Good morning. Okay. So as you guys know, I've been really looking into a lot of chip manufacturers and going through all the changes and shifting stands with domestic chip production and looking into all the companies that would benefit. And I found this weird offshoot of a company called Nalco. And what Nalco does is, okay, hold on. So first off, these two fabrication plants that are being built are being built by Intel, and they're being built by TSMC, and they're being built out in the northern Phoenix, Arizona, in a place called Chandler. And the place called is funny to me is that when you do your research on chip manufacturing, you see how much water they use. They use 4.7 million gallons a day over in Taiwan. So these things are like super thirsty. But we all know there isn't a lot of water out there in the desert. And I was doing my research on how they were going to get all this water, and I found this company called Nalco, and Nalco is owned by this company called Ecolab. And then I was looking at Ecolab. Ecolab has a market cap of $45 billion, and they are in the restaurant industry, in the chemical processing industry, in the industrial manufacturing, chemical treatment, recycling industry. And what they've done is they've come up with this new process that allows semiconductors to basically have and then when you're making these semiconductors, what you need this thing called ultra pure water, which is like H2O, and that is it. Like 1 part per trillion is not water. Like, it is just straight up the most purest water ever, and you have to have it free of particles, bacteria, organic carbons, silica, ionization, a bunch of other stuff, because if you have any kind of impurities in there, you're going to get it onto these super sensitive transistors. So I was looking into this place called Ecolab, and what they do is they have a process that allows them to close loop this water feeding into these silicon chip manufacturers to save millions of gallons of water a day. And they're also in the energy saving business, so they can save these, and they have shown that they have saved like hundreds of millions of dollars in energy costs for these chip manufacturers in a year. So they're a huge business. Then I get into this. Check it out. The number one shareholder of Ecolab is Bill fucking Gates. And then it clicked. Bill Gates is also the largest landowner in the United States. He owns 270,000 acres. And of all of the per state acreage, the largest one is Louisiana, Arkansas, and then Arizona. Arizona, he owns 25,750 acres, all in West Phoenix. So then I go to Ecolab's page, and this is not priced in at all, right? And I look at, and there's this Market Watch article that says that basically has Bill Gates is buying. This idiot's fucking cost basis is $170. The price is down to like 145, 150. So if you bought in right now, you'd be getting in with a sweeter deal than Bill freaking Gates. But if you go to their website, and if you go to like their description on Robinhood, it says nothing about semiconductors at all. It talks about microelectronics or whatever, but if you go to their job descriptions where they're hiring something called a site manager, and it literally states, and I'm going to read it for you guys right here. It says, let's see, has an immediate need for a site manager in our global high-tech group supporting our data center and microelectronic customers. And where is it located? It's located in Chandler, Arizona. So that's exactly where these two plants are being built. So what's going on is Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland in Arizona for the water rights, so he can supply the water to his company Ecolab, so that he can sell this ultra pure water to these semiconductor factories, because he knows that they need that out in the middle of the desert. So he's basically got him by the balls, buying up all these water rights like a freaking Bond villain. And then
coincidence. And then he's gonna poison the water wells with fluoride.
No, the process that they have, the process that they have, the water that they put back into the earth is actually cleaner than the water that they pull out. And you have to use groundwater, because you can't use ionized salt water, because it's just too much of an expensive process to purify like surface water. So this is like sweet crude version. Hold on, one more thing, and then he's going to build a super city out there in the fucking middle of Arizona, and he wants to use a nuclear reactor, which also uses a whole bunch of water. Dude, this is the fucking play right here, man. I'm telling you.
Resident Evil all over again, bro. I'm predicting.
I just want to jump in and provide a counterpoint and just clear up something for me. My understanding of what you described is that Bill Gates owns all the land rights and the water rights essentially around the areas that Ecolabs draws its water from. Ecolabs supplies this clean water to Intel, TSMC, etc. So wouldn't Bill Gates essentially have Ecolabs and Intel by the balls, because he essentially is the monopoly of supplying water to these companies and is able to extract higher and higher prices from these businesses. And the fact that he's a shareholder essentially guarantees that they will pay him this amount of money and get the contracts from where he owns the land, essentially making Bill Gates richer, in which case doesn't that make it the opposite play, which is that these are shit companies because they're essentially their supply source is monopolized, so they have to pay whatever Bill Gates wants.
I guess okay. I think I don't understand what you're saying. What he's doing is he's locking up the water rights over there in Arizona, and he's locking that up. He's locking up his supply resource so that he can basically.
What he's saying is that he's going to be screwing over Ecolab by making them buy the water from him. So it's going to make Bill Gates more money than it's going to make Ecolab any money.
Right. Like at some point, somebody writes a check, and the check.
Can I ask you a question?
That's crazy to think about. So
what
you
is
think
Bill
he's
Gates
buying up a company to destroy himself with it? Like,
What's Bill Gates' relationship to Ecolabs?
He's the biggest shareholder.
Is he on the board or anything like that for it?
I believe he is. He's let's see, maybe it's in this article.
I just want to clarify something while you check the article. I'm not suggesting that he would want to destroy Ecolabs. All I'm saying is that he would essentially entrench himself in that supply chain where he excises the profits from Ecolabs because he's the only supplier of the water. Hence, you as a shareholder buying Ecolabs thinking you're going to get excise returns, it's not going to materialize because Bill Gates is
because it's a
essentially gonna
conduit.
strip
It's more a
out.
conduit.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to, destroy Ecolabs. He essentially wants to build out that infrastructure so that the money goes directly to him, not shareholders, and treat it like a utility.
If he was selling water to poor people, I might believe this. But he's selling a manufactured green product to like the richest companies on fucking planet Earth. So I think that it'll be beneficial to Ecolab's price point by selling this ultra pure water to the Arizona chip
Wouldn't this be
manufacturer.
bullish for semiconductors regardless, because it's making a more efficient process for them? So
Yes, absolutely. But if you wanted to have like a side play or a side bet that I feel is not priced in yet, this would be a good play.
One of the
Don't
things
the plant in Taiwan? Go ahead.
Bill Gates is not on the board of directors, just FYI.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And so are you saying that Bill Gates invested in this company and then bought up all the land, which is within within their water collection area? Is that what it is?
Well, Bill
So
Gates has bought up 270,000 acres across America, right?
Okay. Now,
But
how does that relate
Nevada,
to Ecolabs specifically, though? Is that the watershed where they're getting their water from?
Yes.
Okay.
The specific how it relates to Arizona specifically is that you have these two manufacturing fabrication labs that are going in there that are going to be needing like millions of gallons a day, which is like they're going to need 6 Olympic-sized pools of post manufactured product, right? They're going to need 6 Olympic pools of ultra pure water, so they have to start with even more water in order to to boil it down to
Don't the plants in Taiwan actually recycle the water though, so you wouldn't need actually that much in the long run after you get your main supply filled?
Right.
Yes,
is a
but
big
there is still there's like 60 to 80% efficiency here, right? So like you can recycle the water, but you still have wastewater. Like it's not a perfect system. Like they've made huge strides in saving water, and it's great, but you still need millions of gallons of water a day.
The thing that I wanted to add is that I think it's great research. I think it's a great subject. These the semiconductor water cleaner companies, And some of them get to be more into water distribution for the cities. Some of the actual companies. I have I've researched them before, and I have owned them before. And for me, I'm not saying anything about what's new, and I think it's exciting what you're doing and what you're reading and what you're talking about. But for me, nothing ever really panned out. And I ended up day trading over a period of time and just owning something like 17 or 20 shares because I was trying to figure out, like, I was trying to get it to do something for me. And maybe Bill Gates wasn't in there at that time. I don't know, but it was just a couple of years ago that I was doing that. And in the manufacturing process, yeah, they when they use that water, there's actually have like a plenum floor, and the water comes down, and underneath them, it goes back to the machines, and they re-clean it and stuff.
Yeah, so like
Sounds like
these
you got
manufacturing fabrication
Somebody's
labs,
cat is hungry out there.
these
thirsty. It's thirsty for some pure water.
Flood, I think this is an interesting idea. Sorry, I just want to jump in. I live in Central Ohio where the new Intel plant is coming. So I'd be curious to take your theory another couple feet. I haven't looked at it, but see where Bill Gates is potentially buying land here in
Just
eastern
another
or central
Catholic in
Ohio.
Ohio.
Say again?
there's a shitload of water in Ohio.
For now, but there's a serious talks about is there going to be enough because of the takes. It's a very serious, that and rising house prices are probably two of the biggest things people talk about.
Yeah, so
You're
I
on
did
Lake.
look.
You got Lake Erie in Ohio, so you don't have to worry about it.
So
Look,
I
man,
did look
look,
that up,
when we
and
run out
check
of
this
water,
out.
it's gonna be like Mad Max, right?
So I did look this up, right? Ohio, he owns 8,915 acres, but in Oregon, where they have Portland, Oregon, where they're building another huge fabrication plant, which is going to be Intel's like top notch, like 2 nanometer, high NA lithography machine. He doesn't own any acres. I think I think that a lot of what he's doing is he's buying farmland just to buy farmland, and that's great. But in Arizona, where he has his third largest amount of acres, which isn't too surprising because it's cheaper land in Arizona because there's less water. But if he locked up the water in Arizona, man, he could freaking control the supply line of water to these two fabrication labs. He just knows and I think he knows semiconductors pretty fucking well, obviously, because he's Bill fucking Gates. But by doing this, he's going to definitely be making money. Then wasn't there, which it could be in a complete different spot in Arizona, but didn't Nestle buy up certain water rights somewhere? And then there was a Saudi company who purchased the water rights somewhere in Arizona as well.
Yeah, I know you're talking about the Paiute Indian Reserve. There's a lake there, and Nestle was draining the lake. That was more in Nevada.
Okay, yeah,
Can you
it may
repeat the ticker of the company? Sorry. You were talking
ECL,
about-
sorry, ECL, Echo, Charlie, Lima. So this is a pretty exciting play because it's not priced in. So these these fabs are going to be online in 2023, late 2023, early 2024. And when they turn on, boy, you're going to start seeing like just water. Just water is the play here.
You know, one of the things that I wanted to point out, just helping along, is that the reason why it is important and significant to have clean water is because the transistors really amount to nothing more than small distances between pieces of glass. Inside of the microchip that they're building, they have glass that's been doped or it's been melted with a metal like germanium, or there are some other metals. So you end up with glass, a silicon, that is melted along with a metal. It makes a semiconductor, makes a transistor, makes a semiconductor, and they're very, very, very small. And there's many of them, obviously, in a chip. So it has to be very, very clean. Just pointing out that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. I will probably hate you in a few years because I don't have the the disposable powder just to shoot a big wad at it. But if it goes and skyrockets, I'm going to hate you either way.
You've
And
got,
hate you by meaning I'm too bad that I miss out on it.
you have a year.
You can be like me. You'll day trade for 17 shares or something. I don't know. It just never moved with me. So. Sort of like a micro utility.
All right, so my apologies. I've been taking a shower and multitasking. What is the actual ticker? Because I'm going to go ahead and at least purchase something of it. I don't regret it. Have FOMO.
ECL. Well, you might want to just put it on your guys' radar for now, and because they're setting it up. They got earnings on the 14th, and I think they're going to they're supposed to make some kind of announcement. It looks like, and I'm guessing that announcement is going to be that they're going to be working with these fabrication semiconductor microelectronics companies out in Chandler, Arizona, which is the TSM fabrication lab and the Intel fabrication lab, which are huge facilities, and they're top of the line, bleeding edge, cutting edge, and they need all that equipment down there. They need that. They got the process down for creating this ultra pure water and recycling the ultra pure water and reusing it and lowering water usage. So it's not even if you read their description on like Robinhood or on articles and stuff, it doesn't actually say that they work in semiconductors, because they operate their semiconductor water stuff through a subsidiary company called Nalco. So Nalco is the play, but Nalco is a company that deals with all this stuff, but it's owned by Ecolab. So Ecolab is about to have a huge extension and growth in the company. So in times like this, if you want to get,
it's Ecolab, right? The ticker that we're talking about.
Ecolab, ECL, yeah. And shoot, I had one more thing to say. Oh yeah, and another thing is, Bill Gates wants to build a city out there, outside of Phoenix, probably by Chandler or something, and he wants to run it off of like nuclear energy, and he wants to have like a nuclear power plant, and he'll be and they also work with wastewater and the chemical processes that have to do with damn, someone is just making a fucking racket. But anyways, he's building a city out there, so he's gonna have the water rights there. And Ecolab is also in the wastewater and water management system for reactors and stuff. So yeah, bringing water to the desert is actually an age-old trick for making $1 billion. If you guys ever watched the movie Chinatown, where the orange groves, like how LA was built, so they're basically pulling the same trick. And Bill Gates is smart enough to realize that he needs to control the water, and he needs to control the chemical process for water distribution and management of these very advanced technologies. Thank you.
Would you also recommend calls on SMH?
No, I'm not recommending calls on this. Sorry, guys.
Oh no, I meant the ticker SMH. It's semiconductors.
No, I wouldn't. This is going to be it's going to be such a slow and steady, and it's just going to be a slow, steady ramp up. I don't see any kind of jumps, so you're not going to be able to beat your theta decay with the volatility.
What about with leaps?
There's some plays in here that I might. Oh, with leaps, yeah, fuck yeah.
They only have options out to July 2023, so they don't really have any leaps right now.
Well, I think SOXL does. It's a leveraged semiconductor, but they have a lot more options on them.
I think Intel would be a good one for leaps. but I don't think now is the time to enter it. Maybe in March. I'm predicting a downtrend in the market until about March. Spy puts, whatever. Yeah, there will be a time for leaps, but it's not right now.
To clarify, you're saying puts on Intel or the Ecolab?
No. Well, he asked for leaps in the semiconductor industry, and I said leaps on Intel.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm not suggesting puts on the semiconductor industry, but I think that the semiconductor industry is going to either dip down or stay flat within these next 3 months because of overall market conditions. And so, because of the overall market conditions, I wouldn't suggest getting into calls just yet. And I wouldn't suggest calls on Ecolab either, because because you never know I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know it's going to go up bigly in the next 1 to 2 years.
Hey, I threw up the investor relations presentation for Ecolab in the comments. There's a direct link if you guys want to scroll through that.
So back during the big crypto boom, especially on, say, Bitcoin, what percentage of the chips were being used for mining? Does anybody have a ballpark idea?
Yeah, I'd say the lion's share of it. It's not a surprise that when Ethereum switched from proof of work to proof of stake, that NVIDIA took a huge hit.
So wouldn't it be in a chip maker's best interest to then make a newer, better, faster, more efficient chip that would benefit both sides of the crypto, and then people wanting to buy their chip to mine said crypto?
I don't know. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But
Well,
I think
GPUs, the stuff that NVIDIA makes, and the GPUs, they're not really suitable for mining like the main cryptos like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and the other ones. To mine those cryptocurrencies, you need to have what are called ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits, and those aren't made by NVIDIA or any of those. So, like GPU mining for Bitcoin and Litecoin, it's not profitable.
Gotcha.
Isn't mining kind of like done now? Like you can't.
Not yet. I mean, the big miners, the ones that scaled up as crypto's been growing, they're hurting a little bit because of the price of crypto, obviously, but they're not done by a long shot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, since journalist isn't here to grace us with his presence, think we should wrap up now. I'll just let up.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
You want to end us off or send us off? What you got?
Wait, hold on. I gotta check my portfolio. I haven't checked my portfolio yet.
It's like
All right,
10:30.
before he jumps in, then just a reminder: tomorrow, next week, guys, you got GDP numbers coming in for the U.S. at the end of the week. So, and some major earnings coming out. I think Microsoft reports next week as well. So, if you're going to do some planning, might be better to do it this week rather than wait around for next week's news.
GDP is annual.
It's quarter over quarter. I think it's the advanced number coming out on the 26th.
Roger, thank you.
Okay. I'm happy to report I had a huge 50K bag at 4,800. Sold the call, naked call, at 4,800, and then the market rallied. I sold it at the bottom. And now with this downturn, my bags have went down to 1,600. So I'm close to breaking even. Negative 1,600.
Wow, that is. So you're up like 48K.
No, close to breaking even, not making a profit.
Right. But up
He had
48K.
sold a naked call, and the market rallied, and so he was screwed out of his butt. And then the market has since fallen like, a depressed person from the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge.
It felt just like the
and
CFO from Bed Bath and Beyond.
Okay, so you were down $48,000. Now you're only down $1,600.
That's correct, sir.
Oh, you lucky
So
bastard!
are you going to cut your losses and close that position out?
When I break even, I'll call my losses.
Then those aren't losses.
These are unrealized losses.
No. He has a point. You belong here with us, you fellow Regal.
Market's tanking. Spy's going down again.
Yeah, those might.
It's down below 388.50 right now.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of SQQ calls, so hopefully it'll go in your direction, and you will come back tomorrow in the green.
Nice. Who was that? Who was it that bought calls? Who's helping me out here?
Well, I bought it on SQQQ, so it goes in the opposite direction, I think.
So what's your win streak? Not good, I'm guessing.
On the calls, I don't know yet. I'm driving. I bought, I think, also 145 shares. So hopefully I can hold it out a little longer to offset it.
I love you, man. Thanks for the help.
It's beautiful.
Oh, my straddles, my leap straddles are on the green now. I'll tell you a play here. I have a 38.50 straddle at the money, short straddle, for December 23. 38.50. One call, one put. Right now it's up 11.22%, or that's $8,100. Did we go over plays, by the way? Hey, how come journalist is not here, Opinion? Did you ban him or something?
Yeah, he was just excessive. He's never gonna end, so it's too bad. He had good stuff to offer, but just couldn't do it.
Why would you ban him, though? Are you afraid he might take your spot?
No, not at all. I wish he would take the spot.
The thing about journalists is, you can give yourself a pat on the back for making a good play, but when you start giving yourself a pat on the front, you might want to mute your mic.
Yeah, his problem is he's like, oh, here's my play, and I'm right, and therefore all of you are idiots. Because it's not like any of us have ever had decent plays before.
Did you guys talk on BBBY yet, or no? Are you allowed to talk about BBBY?
Yeah. There's no rules here, but just don't be a dick. Which is apparently difficult for some. But yeah, they launched Ever and Ever, a new brand.
Opinion, are you gonna make a sticky about the suicide hotline?
Why? Oh, because Bed Bath and Beyond is dying. Usually we only do that.
It goes to 2.5, so $2.50. You're gonna wait till it goes there.
Well, at that point, it's below the market cap threshold. But now we only do that when the entire market's crashing. Which look,
yeah.
You got to zoom out a little bit. The market's not doing it's still up on the week.
Dude, this market's crashing. What do you mean it's still up? This market's going down. It's all Bear City now. It's Bear Town.
It's up 2% this month.
Recession is over. Go home.
You got to think about year over year.
So I've been wondering what would happen if I bought 2025 puts on SQQQ. I don't know if anyone's ever done that.
Let me see, sir.
Because if we expect the market to go up within 2 years, wouldn't that print?
What was that strike?
Oh, I don't have a strike in mind, but puts for 2025.
Normally bear markets don't last that long.
Right. So wouldn't that naturally just go up because of that fact?
That's true. Bear markets don't last long, but what does last long is a margin call during that bear market.
Just read up on some of these short QQQ or short leverage, triple leveraged ETFs. Their decay is really terrible. You start looking at the long-term holdings of some of this stuff,
but
it's not
that's
a good
my
play.
point. So if you're doing puts on something that's decaying, it would go the opposite way.
So if my brain is working correctly, you said you're buying puts on SQQQ. So that's a bullish bet, right? It's not a bearish bet.
It's a definitely, because I'm assuming that the market will recover by January 2025.
Is there any particular reason why you would do that instead of buying calls on TQQQ?
The reason is because this is just a theory of mine that you can bank off the decay, because if TQQQ has some sideways action, the volatility decay will eat it, because I've bought it before and I've always just broken even on it.
I mean, that's not very persuasive. You've only broke even on it.
No,
I'm saying.
but I haven't done the opposite play I was just talking about with
Well, I'm pretty sure the exact same thing would happen the other way, because SQQQ and TQQQ move like in tandem with each other, basically.
They do over a short term, but if you look at the long-term chart for SQQQ, it is almost like infinitely.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, I might just buy them and just see what the hell happens with like $1,000.
This is the way.
Ryler, the only kind of caution I give to you is this: rather than looking at, how long bear markets last, I think it would be worth looking into when bull markets began. Look at the general conditions that generally precede a bull market. If you want to determine when, the stock market is going to actually start to rebound. I, for one, don't think we're anywhere near the conditions that normally precede a bull market. So we're now in a bear market, and conditions have to change enough to actually precipitate a bull run. And we're just not there. Like, I don't see it.
But wouldn't you agree that it's going to happen before people expect it to?
Everything happens before people expect it to.
Nah, bro, it's priced in.
But honestly, I don't think it's going to happen before. I don't think it's going to happen before the S&P drops probably another 30%.
Yeah, and the only reason I would do this play on the NASDAQ is because it's dropped much more than the S&P already. So it might be bottoming sooner.
Yeah.
Bitcoin looks like it's trending back up again, which means that it might be a reversal in the SPY by the end of the day today.
No, so one of the few things that I haven't heard people talk about is the fact that, so right before COVID, there were a lot of analysts that were already said the stock market was in a bubble. And, I think a lot of people are drawing these trend lines over 5 years and not realizing that those entire 5 years existed within the bubble. So when you're looking at like how deep you expect the S&P to fall or any of these indices, I would really suggest going back more than 5 years and go back 20 to 50 years when you're looking at your regression. So
that's an excellent point. It especially based on what the company's products are or what their services are. Good point.
Yeah. And now, of course, the problem with that is that modern tech didn't exist back then. So that's a unique animal. So not much we can do about that. That's all I've got for you guys. You guys have a good day. Take it easy.
Hey, opinion. Didn't last week you said you were a bag holder on some of your positions? Is it looking good today with the market dropping?
I don't think I said that. No.
No.
I mean, I've got some. I've got SPX
Come on,
put
we
that.
know. Come on, we know your options expire worthless. Come on, tell
Yeah.
the truth.
I've got an SPX option put that expires worthless.
That's what I'm talking about.
Today, tomorrow, I don't remember. But other than that, I'm pretty good for this year so far. But never too
does
late to start
anybody
by holding something.
does anybody have any zero DTE plays they want to brag to us about? Make us feel
Is that
inferior.
your fetish, bro? You get turned on by zero worthless.
I mean, that's it. Hey, if you don't live by the zero DTE life, I mean, what are you living?
There was a lot of like zero DTE plays actually this week on by SPX. In the sub, there was a guy who had made like 10 grand on some puts yesterday, but if he had held to like end of day on zero DTEs, he would have made like 50 grand or more. So there you go. Some missed zero DTE porn, lost porn, or game
You
porn,
should
sorry.
you should tell him to zoom out.
Tell him to zoom out. How can he zoom out? He already closed.
No, zoom out into his year-over-year P&L chart.
Oh no, that's just mean.
Why is everybody there's people still think I'm journalist brother. Yes, guys, I am. I'm journalist brother.
No, you're way too polite to be journalist. Yeah, you can use
Journalist
that.
2.0.
I'm a journalist. Yeah, journalist 2.0. His twinsies.
I like
We perform
the nicer version.
What's that Super Saiyan dance that we touch fingertips with one another?
Oh, y'all want to touch tips? Ah, man.
What is it? It's the fusion dance.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called.
Somebody in the comments will probably say it. Anyway. If anybody wants me to mimic journalists by insulting them, just let me know.
No, sir. I think we're all good on that front. I do think we're probably going to wrap up though, unless there's anything else.
Gosh.
We can move on. We can move on to Discord though. I mean, that's usually where like after these calls, everyone kind of hobbles over to Discord and then we play games or just hang out and chill. So
Discord won't allow me to verify my phone number. I don't know why.
Wait, why do you don't even have to verify your phone number, do you?
And for me, it does.
Okay, shoot me a message. I'm should be able to find me in the server. I'll help you out. If anyone else is stuck, yeah, I'll help you out pretty quickly, get you verified. But yeah, because feel bad for all the people stuck in the waiting room.
How many people are on the Discord? Because you make it sound like you make it sound like it's Wall Street Silver, where there's not a lot of people.
Oh, okay. Wait, before I say anything, how big do you think it is?
You need a number?
Yeah, take a guess.
For the live chat or Discord members in total?
Discord members in total. And keep in mind,
let's talk about the live chat. Okay, this Discord members in total. What do we have here? How many degenerates are online right now? 13.5 right now in WallStreetBets Reddit. Probably gonna say it has to be 1 million.
Oh, okay. Wait. Hold on. Let me add one more caveat. We only started this Discord 2 months ago, or 2.5 months ago.
All right, I'm gonna go with a good, solid 20,000.
Any other guesses?
I mean, you make it sound like you're bragging right now. I'm about to be shocked with the number of Discord members.
I feel embarrassed because it's actually only 10,000, but it's 10,000. That's a lot of people.
Or is that Canadian or American though?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, you said 20, but
that's true. Is that Canadian numbers or is that American numbers?
Let me do the conversion. 1 second. Oh yeah, it's still 10,000.
The Discord is definitely less toxic than the daily threads, so that's a point in favor of it.
Yeah, and that's why we restricted pretty heavily on the verification, and we're pretty quick to like just kick people out if they're being nasty. So
Mm. And do you guys talk all day, or do you guys only talk for a few like an
Whatever you
hour or
want.
so?
the voice chat is slowly building up. So there's conversations I want to see like maybe like half the day.
To every hour?
Yeah. No. I'd say like probably during market hours and then up to like 8 or 10 p.m.
Oh wow, that's pretty good actually.
But there's definitely spots of like, let me take a quick look to see if people are on right now.
I think people were watching movies together too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we organized a couple movie nights. We did Jackbox games a couple times. There's a lot of events we want to do. We just need like more people to kind of show up on a more regular basis.
I think next Wednesday is
maybe we can
Brokeback
watch
Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, that
can
was
I
my
get subscribed for that? Can you reserve me a spot for that, please?
Yeah, if we watch Brokeback Mountain, I'll join.
I think we should see Margin Call soon. The movie.
Yeah, I've only seen the highlighted clips on YouTube. I've never watched the whole movie.
Yeah, we need to watch Margin Call. It'll make us cry a little bit. It'll be a personal movie for us.
We can watch it tomorrow if you guys want.
Oh, don't tease me like that. Come on, baby
No,
boy.
I'm serious. But you got to verify your phone number apparently.
Yeah, I will.
All right, I think we'll wrap it up here with that hefty Discord advertisement. Come join the Discord, link in the comments. It'll be fun. If not, that's cool, but I hate you. I'm just
I
kidding.
bet you if we watch Margin Call, everybody's gonna be looking at their portfolios at the same time. I bet you.
So we should watch it during market hours. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, we could watch it before because everybody's gonna be hyperventilating during market hours.
All right, so everyone just wake up at 5 a.m. to come watch Margin Call with us.
No, it's gonna be
that's too much work,
after
bro.
market hours.
Yeah. All right, after market hours, we'll talk more. Oh, Spy is.
Did you do a Backholders Anonymous this last weekend? Because you said you would.
We were supposed to, but someone did not show up. So we'll see.
Someone.
I am not pointing any fingers.
No. Who didn't? Who was supposed to show up?
I'm not. It's usually Loose, Simple, and I.
Yeah, I have a feeling Loose was the one that failed to show.
But hey, look, we're not pointing any fingers. So
I mean, he does work for Citadel, so we have to point fingers.
All right.
Oh yeah, somebody made a post. All right, you want to close the chat? Right,
no. Okay, someone made a post.
So yeah, somebody made a post that Kenny's going to become Treasury or might become Treasury.
Oh, that Ken Griffin might replace Jay Powell?
Yeah. I call him Kenny. No. Might replace Janet Yellen. He's running for Treasury, not Federal Reserve.
Oh, future Treasury Secretary.
Yes.
This talk is really sweet, by the way. It's almost like you're on a date. It's like, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. I have butterflies.
So basically, what it looks like, it's a news post. So they're saying that it looks like there's people who it looks like Ron DeSantis might be moving closer towards a run for presidency for 2024, and that he's grown closer to Ken Griffin of Citadel Securities, who, if he wins, would be favorite for Treasury Secretary. So this would be well down the line.
Isn't he already
somebody
pulling
pointed
strings
out
behind the scenes, though?
I mean, this guy is not even pulling strings. This guy's owning the circus right now. You know, this guy's not even pulling strings. He's the biggest market maker right now.
Yeah, but imagine how much more market moves he can make if he runs the freaking market.
Well, he has to. Doesn't he have to divest?
Technically, no.
But it's a conflict of interest. Running a business, a market-making business, and being the treasury at the same time.
They'll just divest right before they tank the market.
he would probably step down from his position. He can still hold his, or like, he'd step down from the job. He can still hold his stock positions in that. But like, there was a lot of back and forth when Trump became president about whether or not he should have to sell stuff or put into a blind trust, because certain positions are actually exempt from that.
Gotcha. Well, that's all I have.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Go for it.
Are you prepared to ask that question? Be careful.
So I have a zero.
Stage fright.
You have a 0, eh?
You cut out. Can you say that again?
All right, I'll give him another 30
Yeah.
seconds.
While he's finding his service, I have a question for you, Opinion. I read yesterday that with Canada's laws, that if you tell somebody, like during an argument, to go kill themselves, that they could be charged for practicing medicine without a license. Now, I read that on 4chan, so I don't know that it's true, but I did read it yesterday.
Yeah, that is definitely not true, but that's pretty funny. They're referring to, of course, MAID, medically assisted assistance in death or in dying, which is a program we have for euthanasia. But not quite. Although that being said, Elon Musk recently got acquitted for, or not charged for, allegations he made against the submarine gentleman in Thailand.
Wait, what? Submarine?
Oh, wow, that was a long time ago. Yeah, he accused the dude of being a pedo.
Yeah, and also he's now,
Oh my
I
gosh,
think, he's just
of course he
going
wasn't
to
gonna
court.
get it. Duh.
It was when they rescued those children who went exploring in a cave, correct?
Yes, that's correct. The jury said that he did not, that the
But I
plaintiff
mean, that's
wasn't just
such an
appealing.
outlandish claim.
Well, it could still be defamatory, but in any case, the more important thing is that now his case for the 420 tweet funding secured is coming up in court. So that will be the more interesting one to watch.
Yeah, who knows how that'll. Who knows, But yeah, definitely interesting.
Also, looks like Bed Bath & Beyond is really drilling down here. It's really flirting with the $400 market cap threshold.
Opinion, why did you change your flair to be Bed Bath & Beyond supporter when you're really not? You're really a sheep in
Hey,
sheep's
look,
clothing.
I
Or a
don't
wolf in sheep's
mind
clothing.
either way. I just want people to be cool with one another. But I switched the flare because I accidentally removed it a day too early.
I'm
And
on to you.
I was like, here, this is my penance.
Oh yeah, on Tuesday he let it slip. He was telling people to invest in BBBY.
Hey, yeah.
No, I was just saying this is why you might consider investing.
No, you said 80 strike calls.
Ooh.
Yes, that definitely sounds like me.
Then you made that post about you pinned some post about DFV.
Oh yeah,
And
that's pretty funny.
if you didn't make those comments, I would have thought that was real. Good thing you actually went all the way to do that with his Twitter and everything. I wouldn't have
How
known
about
otherwise.
the Jay Powell one? That one was pretty funny too.
Yeah, JP was awesome. I made those comments to make sure people really there's no excuse to think that it's real.
How many? You said 70 people reported that?
Oh, I think it ended up being way more than like 100 at least.
How many regards, yo?
Man, isn't that a good way to figure out who the Reddit Karens are and then block them?
So you can't actually see who reports something. But if somebody like mass reports a whole bunch of stuff, just to be annoying, then they might get whacked by Reddit. So, yeah. I posted on Twitter as well, and people were quite salty that I insulted their famous
Wait,
legend.
so you're saying the Reddit mods whack people? I mean, I knew Luce was that type of person, but I didn't really know that other mods.
No comment. But yeah, it's been fun. I think the quality of memes has definitely jumped up quite a bit, especially this year. It's been really good, and I think that's just going to continue. So, kind of excited. We did lose some of our like top meme makers in 2022, but they're getting replaced by people who are just as good. So, very
What do
glad to
you
see
mean
that.
What do you mean you lost and they died in battle, or what? The portfolio died, or what? What's?
They might have like gotten tired of it. I mean, it's pretty discouraging when you spend a lot of time building something and then it doesn't get very much traction, and someone spend like 2 seconds making a static meme, and like that gets like 20,000 upvotes, right? So that's part of
Gotcha.
it. Another part is like using the word like retard and stuff like that is pretty dicey, and sometimes admins will suspend
Gotcha.
your account for that. So yeah.
Yeah, I hear that for sure. Getting beat out by a fake tweet post. Oh my god.
It's frustrating. So I'm still trying to look for ways to like encourage more, people to create content and make cool memes, because that's the kind of stuff that makes, Wall Street Bets fun and interesting, and that makes you want to come back. So yeah, just spending actually almost all my hours working on that.
Well, I mean, when you sticky Bed Bath DD, that's not really encouraging, you know?
I don't what Bed Bath DB.
It's encouraging my puts.
I don't know that I sticky any Bed Bath and Beyond DD, but we in general should be sticking DD as long as it's high effort.
Yeah, there's some
Well,
crazy DD that I like to see.
speaking of advertising, love him or hate him, journalist creates a conversation. Just saying, maybe he should be around every once in a while.
I don't know if you're talking about me or you're talking about the actual journalist.
We've got a lot of journalist fanboys here.
Yeah, the one that says, "Shut the fuck up! I only have 2 minutes."
Yeah.
Again, he needs to change the way he comes across sometimes. But again, it's definitely entertaining at times.
So when is he going to be back, opinion?
I don't know. I think we'll give him a little bit of time out. Maybe we'll bring him back in February or like.
Dang.
People.
He's gotta graduate from his anger management course.
Dang, that's a long time. February? Dang.
Hey, look, we tried to coach the guy so many times that I don't think it makes sense. But anyways, I think we're putting everyone to sleep with this conversation, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for coming up, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Don't lose too much money. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Hola.